In the book of Deuteronomy, which, as we know, is filled with a lot of rules about what we should and should not do, it extends the same reward to 3 different acts of good behavior. If you honor your mother and father, which personally I think is a pretty good idea, you will fare well and have length of days. You are likewise rewarded to live well and long if in your business transactions you use honest weights and measures. This seems like a sensible goal, although it could undermine the whole capitalist system that we're for. But the point is well made. If you deal fairly with others in commerce, then you personally will fare well and have length of days. Here's the third one. In Deuteronomy 22, verse 6 and 7, you have a rather odd piece of advice. If you send away a mother bird before taking her eggs or fledglings, you will fare well and have length of days. A lot of people during these past 3,000 years have been trying to figure that out, to understand this exhortation to send away the mother bird before gathering eggs from her nest. A lot of interpretations point to ideas about compassion. If you spare the mother bird from seeing her offspring taken, this kind act will reward you in the end. One is more or less encouraged to act as humanely as possible, and if you succeed, you will fare well and have length of days. But frankly, it's always been a puzzle what the reference to the mother bird was really all about until roughly somewhere in the mid-1400s, when, and this is an easy name for us Utahns to remember, when Don Isaac Abravanel, a famous Jewish biblical scholar and commentator from Spain, said that the Torah's intention here is to prevent untimely destruction and to encourage the creation to exist as fully as possible. Only if the creation is preserved is it possible to have length of days. The human being is obligated to perpetuate the creation so that people can always be assured of participating in the future. We are reliant upon creation to perpetuate itself so that there will always be sufficient resources. Now, even Abravanel is not altogether clear about connecting the departure of the mother bird with this idea of a self-perpetuating creation. But then in 1981, Wendell Berry, my favorite poet-philosopher of the environment, observed the following, which really kind of echoes Abravanel. This is now Wendell Berry. This precept of sending away the mother bird before gathering eggs from her nest is a perfect paradigm of ecological and agricultural discipline in which the idea of inheritance is necessarily paramount. The inflexible rule is that the source must be preserved. You may take the young, but you must save the breeding stock. In short, by all means, eat of the fruit, but take care not to destroy the fruitfulness. So essentially, Wendell Berry is putting Abravanel into a modern-day context, naming that if we do not preserve that which yields fruit from the earth, then we're not being sustainable. We would not be blessed by length of days, because if we're not sustainable, there will be no long days to be had. What I'd like to share this morning, and believe you me, I am no Wendell Berry or Isaac Abravanel, but I want to extend or play some with this metaphor of sending away the mother bird to embrace a wider, fuller understanding of sustainability. Are we really committed to limiting our consumption of creation's fruit to our immediate needs? And if not, if we continue to somehow justify or rationalize our large appetites, then do we really take the time to think about the future? How will future generations survive? We will not fare well, nor have length of days. This seems undoubtedly obvious to us all. Essentially the message is stop being so selfish. We know that. But there's another angle to sustainability that may not be so apparent. And that deals with the question of progress and technology, which can often impair sustainability. Technology comes with a huge price. So let me elaborate a bit by pulling in two pioneers from the earlier stages of the contemporary environmental movement, who staked the claim in so many words that technology, or scientific abilities to advance and enhance our well-being on this earth, and indeed to extend our length of days, this highly touted technology has actually harmed sustainability. Now, this premise flies in the face of our unflinching embrace of technology. That technological development routinely solves our problems as fast as they arise. We enjoy our lifestyles that technology makes possible. Somehow, we don't track the price that is really paid. The mindset is clear and simple. The prevailing attitude insists that technology has improved our lives and that everything is always getting better. Technology provides us with tools for a better tomorrow because things are always getting better. This notion lets us off the hook about being concerned about the future. The future will take care of itself, as it always has historically. Technology will do it for us. But consequently, we pay little heed to sustainability. Sustainability, in fact, has no real traction in our society because we believe that technology will always save us from ourselves. Jeremy Benstein, an environmental anthropologist, asks a few legitimate questions. Is progress truly progressing? Does increased technological prowess mean better lives and a better world? Can it be sustainable over time? And what, if anything, is not getting better? Excuse me, I read that wrong. And what if everything is not getting better? What an idea. What do you mean, everything is not getting better? He says, well, think about it. What if everything is not getting better? So Rachel Carson is the first pioneer to suggest that everything is not getting better. She challenged the technological idea of better living through chemistry in her powerfully honest book, Silent Spring. In marking its 50th anniversary now, it is being reread by a generation intrigued by the first inklings that technology may not be our salvation. She rightfully proved that science, making our lives easier, better, more enjoyable, and abundant, exacts a huge price and is ultimately not sustainable. Rachel Carson is my hero not because she linked pesticide use, namely DDT, to cancer and other health issues, but because she also called out the government. She called the government out in failing to protect environmental health over economic interests. And where are we on this today? So much of the election 2012 hinges on regulating technological progress for the sake of public health. An immediate example is the use of hydrofracking that employs many workers, lots of jobs for now, but the chemicals that seep into the soil and the water systems undermine any remote chance of sustainability. So short term, we will fare well, but length of days? Forget it. They'll be gone. By challenging the assumed guiding principle of society that technology does not necessarily provide for a better tomorrow, that everything is not getting better, Rachel Carson becomes the lightning rod for industry's wrath. She was considered so un-American to oppose the advances of science. It was like attacking capitalism and, by extension, America itself. So Carson was labeled not only a communist, but worse. The makers of insecticides smeared her as, and I quote, a spinster with an affinity for cats. It doesn't get much worse than that. No greater shame could be had than a spinster with an affinity for cats.